I think spending money on Pilates memberships is a scam. I honestly feel like spending $200 to $300 a month on a membership where you just bring a mat into a room, teach you something that you can find on YouTube is crazy to me. At least offer me lemon water when I walk in the door. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Twenties Detox. I'm Bianca, your host, where we dive into all the things that I'm learning and unlearning in my 20s to elevate this decade. Before we get into this episode, make sure to share it with a friend when it starts to resonate, and also follow along. I post an episode every single Tuesday, advice for navigating young adulthood, as well as seasonal backed advice. So living by the seasons, by the energy of nature, because I believe when that has the root and foundation of a lot of our advice, everything works a little bit more smoothly. I'm also doing this goal of trying to reach 100 reviews by the end of 2026. So if you have been listening to a few episodes and you enjoy them, please make sure to rate the podcast either on Spotify, Apple. YouTube is still really, really new. If you're a YouTube person through and through, any support there would be so appreciated. I have my coffee today because we're getting into some serious things. We're going to be talking about things that I don't buy in my 20s. Some of them might be a little bit controversial. I also need to always remind you of this. What you value and what you want matters more than the advice I'm going to give here. I'm going to back up why I don't want to get some of these things. Do I say you must follow this to a T? No. This is what I believe in. This is what I've been learning and what I value. What you value and what you want is important. Okay, so I never ever want to give advice on this podcast that is black and white. This is the only way. Just take what you want, whatever resonates, take with you, whatever doesn't, don't take it to heart, move on, okay? I'm just gonna briefly talk about some of the ways that I've been raised so that you might have a better understanding for why I'm saying these things. I have been raised not in the city, much more rural, where I don't think I say that word, rural, I can't say it well, where nature has been my best friend, outside has been my best friend, more minimalism and frugality was a root of my life. My parents own a business, and when they started, it was difficult for them to have like good enough cash flow. They dated for 6 years. They got married. They waited another 6 years before having me, and they made sure to live a less luxurious life. Does that mean, like, look at where I'm living? Does that mean that I'm not living the most amazing, privileged life? Absolutely not. I live a privileged life. And I will also say that I do have a bit of generational wealth. Compared to some of these people that I live near to, no. But I recognize my privilege in the sense that I even have money that will be passed down from my grandparents. So I want to say that first and foremost. However, I have never really been raised in a way that is to flaunt money, to have it in a lot of external things. We use our money more to have experiences. And also the way that I view money is if I give, I return. So my family and I, every Christmas, my extended family will buy presents for people in need. We will donate them. And this is not, I just learned this like term of like virtue. I don't even know the trends, but this is not me trying to like flaunt. Okay. I'm just me trying to explain like the way that I was raised, because I feel like some people with what I'm going to say will be like, what? Like, how do you not want those things or believe in those things? I just don't. Like, I'm not going to lie. I want money. I've always wanted that. I want it in a way that is honest, though. And I want it in a way for me to be able to give it generously to others in need. So the very first thing, maybe you can guess, that I do not spend my money on, and probably will ever, is luxury brands. I don't need luxury cars. I don't need luxury anything. I don't see the point in it. I feel my most happy when I am out in nature, when I'm on the beach, when I'm having conversation with a friend. Like, I don't need things to make me happy and feel proud. Luxury brands, if I see people wearing them and carrying them, they don't impress me in the way that I think that they would like to be impressed with. I don't need it. I don't feel like it's worth it, especially if you are somebody wanting to save money for a nice life and you don't have tons and tons and tons of generational wealth that it doesn't mean anything to you. For me, having luxury brands is a lot of money, and I don't see the need to wear something like that. I would rather use it on an experience to travel. Any day, I would rather travel. I will say though, one of the things that I would spend more money on, but not to like a luxury level, is more sustainable and ethical clothing. I view spending my money and money in general as a very spiritual thing. So when I put my money into something, the quality, spiritual quality of what I'm putting it into will determine what I'm like opening up the floodgates for more money to enter. So if I'm putting my money, when it's reasonable, into sustainable clothes, ethical products, then that is a higher quality energy than something of fast fashion. And because of that, I am allowing that to fulfill a cycle of money in general. I think when I didn't view it like this, then I was stuck feeling so frantic about money and scared that I wasn't making enough money. But what I spend my money on, I really think about not just if it's good for me, but for the good of all. So sometimes that's why I feel like having, oh, my mom's in the picture. Hi, Mom. I feel like that is an important thing to remember when you are spending money on clothes. I spend more money on things that last longer than cheaper things that don't last as long. I feel sometimes we think too narrow-minded on what we can afford versus the long term of what we can afford. They might look at me and think I'm crazy for spending $200 on a pair of jeans, where they might spend $20 on a pair of jeans that really only lasts them for a few months before they stretch out or they get a rip in them, or etc. So I think sometimes you have to like look on the wide lens of things, where how long will this last me? How many wears can I get out of that? And that will make it worthwhile to spend your money on it or not. And actually, sometimes luxury brands don't even have that sustainability to them. That's really wild to me. You'll spend like thousands of dollars and it will break. It's like, why? I don't get it. The next thing, I think spending money on Pilates memberships is a scam. I honestly feel like spending $100 to $200 to $300 a month on a membership where you just bring a mat into a room for an instructor to teach you something that you can find on YouTube is crazy to me. I go to like a regular gym where you can have tons of equipment. That is the part that costs money for the gym, and other classes, yoga, stuff like that. Like, I don't go to like a trendy Pilates place. I think in general, their profit that they're making is so high. Like, in my opinion, I don't understand why it's that expensive, especially if you're bringing your own mat. It's just a room, and it's like Pilates instructors should not cost that much money. I really don't think that it is smart to do when you're young and you want to invest your money and save money for long-term investment, not like just spending it all on this. You can do it at home with YouTube. I do that. That's what I like to do. Do the math. If you can comfortably afford it and you want to do it, go for it. I just personally feel like it's outrageous to me, the price. At least offer me lemon water when I walk in the door and have my own mat that you will clean, because if it's going to be $200 a month. Next thing is, I don't really get too much takeout food that much. Now with so many different apps where you can like order food to go out, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Skip the Dishes, there's so many extra fees in that makes a meal so expensive comparison to like going and getting all the ingredients and cooking it yourself. I find it too expensive. So if I will walk over to this sushi place and just like go get the sushi there and take it to like walk back to my apartment. But even then I don't do that very often because I feel like it's really important to also not just for your money, but for your health to cook at home, because you can control the salt, you can control the sugar, you can control a lot of extra additives and make it much healthier for you and significantly cheaper. Sometimes when I just do the math of like how expensive it is to like go and order, it's not even like going and eating the food in a restaurant. Like I would rather walk into a restaurant and eat in a restaurant than order food to come to my house. I think that is sucking the money out of so many people's bank accounts because there's so many additional fees alongside the app. Well, the more that I've been like studying business and marketing and all that, the more I'm like, oh, like all these like get one buy one free and all these like marketing deals, like you're not actually benefiting a lot of the time. And also when you think about like how an app runs and how they make the money, like the food already on the app is going to be more expensive than what you'll buy in the store. And then there's the additional fees of tips and the additional fees of delivery and driving and gas. Gas is so expensive. So them driving all over is making it even more expensive. So I really am mindful about really not doing that more than 2 to 3 times a month. I find a lot more gratitude just making my own food and doing it like that. Of course, like sometimes it's fun to go out and do it, but not to the point where you're spending more money on takeout food than you would getting your own groceries for the whole month or like 2 months, you know? Another thing that I don't really spend too much money on is too much skincare and makeup. I don't feel the need to get a lot of something. I find that alongside clothes, when I have too much makeup, too much skincare, too many clothes, I don't actually get to appreciate what I already have and actually don't get to use what I have. I get a little bit overwhelmed and I don't really view makeup, clothes too much as art. Like clothes maybe a little bit more, but I'm okay with not wearing re-wearing dresses. I'm okay with like having staples and wearing, like I said, the same pair of jeans like multiple times a week, most of the year. Not needing so much variety for me because it's also just not my values and like personalities where they lie, where I'm going to spend money on looking a certain way. Like I just want the basics. I want to look presentable. I want to feel good. I want to feel confident. I want to be able to go to certain events, but I don't really need anything further for like art statements. And also I feel my skin has improved so much because I just simplified my routine. And also wearing less makeup. I don't actually wear makeup a ton of times. If I do, then it's like super minimal during the week. And I wear more when I record because it's fun and why not? I'm very also mindful of like the skincare that I buy for my skin. I use the app Yuka, which scans it and tells me like how clean a product is for my skin, because otherwise I'm putting on some scented lotion that is more expensive than basic Cetaphil, and it's doing more damage than good. I don't need that stuff. I really don't. I like the basics where I basically just like clean my face and put a little like toner on and then cream, and that is it. And maybe like later I'll start doing some retinol, but right now I don't really feel the need to do that. So that's basically what I do. I keep it simple. Makeup is simple. And makeup and skincare is super expensive. I feel keeping it minimal, meaning that I use up the product enough before it expires. Because how much of you, be honest, how many of you have expired makeup? Because I have expired makeup that I just need to throw out. It's not good to put on your skin, expired makeup, or around your eyes and all that. So I would much rather use up to the best of my ability before it expires, less makeup, than having too much makeup that it's just like it's giving over consumption. And the last thing, I feel like some people might disagree with this one, but it is real estate. I don't feel like it is a financially good decision to buy any real estate right now for myself. Not that I am qualified to give this advice, but I have spoken to some real estate agents and some financial investors. And right now, because real estate is so high and so expensive, it isn't a guaranteed investment in the way that we do investments with like the S&P 500, which has other reasons for why that investment would go up. With your homes, you need to maintain it in order to continuously go up as an investment alongside the neighborhood that you're in. So many different factors, but a lot of it also is how you maintain it and, you know, whether or not the market will go up. A huge part is if people can even afford it. And I just have a hard time really thinking about if younger generations, even younger than us, are going to be able to afford homes that are even more expensive than they are now. The price of everything has gone up so great, and the only thing that hasn't are salaries. I don't see that happening anytime soon because in order to do that, the businesses need to afford it, and some businesses are struggling as it is. So there's a broken system there. I really don't see it supporting a long-term sustainability. I don't see it being sustainable long term. And also there's a huge confusion about like housing affordability alongside it being a primary investment. A lot of people didn't like that I spoke about this, but to be honest, if you think about it as plain as it is, if a home is your primary investment, it cannot be affordable. Otherwise, it is no longer an investment, because for you to buy something now and sell it in 20, 30, 40 years, you'd hope it isn't as affordable as it was when you first bought it. Otherwise, you'd make no money. Essentially, if we would have to start saying like housing across the board has to be affordable, then it's kind of no longer being seen as an investment. There is the potential that homes are going to be even more money. I just have a hard time seeing it where I live, particularly. It's just so expensive. The market is crazy, and I just don't think it would be a smart decision financially for myself to be able to do that when I can rent, pay less money than a mortgage, and invest any extra money into something that has a greater chance of it giving me more money, greater chance of higher return. So those are a few things, but let's summarize it. Luxury, no luxury stuff. Too much skincare, makeup, too much anything. Being more mindful. The third one is being more mindful with spending money on things that are sustainable, meaning they last a longer amount of time, because you're actually going to spend less money buying fewer higher quality things than you are spending on cheap things, because they won't last long and you're just gonna have to get another. The fourth thing is not eating out so much. I try to minimize that as much as possible and cooking in more, because it's just saves me so much money doing it like that. Unnecessarily high subscriptions for things like Pilates that I feel it's not worth the money, and how you can find alternatives that are significantly cheaper that will save you a lot more money over time and will give you just as good of a health benefit for that. And the last thing is real estate. If where you live, it's not reasonable. What's so wrong with renting culture? You know, like I've been saying this, like renting culture. Oh, my mom is in the shot. Like, what's so wrong with renting culture? I've been saying this. Renting is okay. And you can actually make more money spending less money on rent than you would even a mortgage on top of that down payment, right? And spending that on good investments that will give you a greater return years down the line. But of course, once again, it all determines on your personality, your risk tolerance, and what you value. That's my thoughts on buying things in your 20s. I'm curious to know what you resonate with. I'm also curious to know what you feel is worth it to invest in and not, because I'm open to know your thoughts and what you're knowledgeable about as well. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye.